Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. We are in episode 62.
Yep, 62.
D.
Yeah.
I don't know if 61 got posted, and I don't know if it's gonna get posted. But y'all, if you're paying attention, we're in 62. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we in 62. Yeah. Guess what? We got somebody. We got somebody for 62. Actually, we got a couple of people for 62. All right, so we basketball guys. This one might be a throwback, might bring some nostalgia back to you. I don't know. It might not. Who knows? Maybe he's a scrub in somebody's eyes. I don't know. I can't call it.
Could be mine.
Scott Pollard.
It was mine.
Scott Pollard. He ran with 62 for a couple of teams. Scott Pollard. When I saw the name, I'm like, oh, it's a throwback day. But we all remember Scott Pollard. But then we got football. Football's on the way back. And for football, we got a Super Bowl champion in Jason Kelce with the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to Philly. I love Philly. Eagles, I like them.
Scott Pollard got a chip, didn't he?
Did Scott Pollard get a chip? I gotta look.
I mean, he was relevant in it, but I mean, he got.
But do we got hardware? Does he have a ring?
Yeah, because I was automatically about to just give it up. Like, hey, man, well, whoever get the chip got it. You know, because I
mean, my man played for 11 seasons. You know what I'm saying? That's a hell of a career. 11 years in the NBA. A lot of people are killed for 11 years. And he was drafted by the Pistons.
Of course, they made that mistake.
Let me see. He did win the championship with the Celtics in 2008. And I think he was rocking 62 with the Celtics when he won it. 62 sounds like a good number to me.
I don't care who get it, man. It's a talk, man. Who you got?
Me personally, I'm gonna lean towards Jason Kelce.
Go with Kelce, man.
You know what I'm saying? I just think he's probably the bigger name, the more relevant name today. Scott Pollard. Got to play some more hard just because I'm a nostalgic basketball guy.
Yeah.
When I saw the name pop up, my eyes lit up. I had the biggest smile like, Scott Pollard, man, come on now.
You're a good one for remembering him, man. You a good one.
Hey, man, I'm a nostalgic basketball guy. What can I say?
I see. All right, man. Well, it ain't the Pollard episode. It's the Kelce episode, y'all. Who would have thought?
Fly high, Eagles. Come on, man. And then, guess what? I love the city. I love the city of Philadelphia. So
do you
get you a yeah? Oh, come on now. Come on.
Like for them raggedy cheesesteaks.
I mean, not just because of that. And they not raggedy, man. Come on, get that cheese whiz on it. The cheese whiz. The cheese whiz.
Them poverty cheesesteaks with cheese whiz on it.
You know what I'm saying? They know how to do it. Got to keep it hometown. But shout out to the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Hey, so what's up?
Let's talk these stars, man.
Yeah, I'm ready to get to it. Okay. So go ahead. Let us know what you got. I'm going to what I got.
I tell you what I got, but you know, it didn't get treated like it was the star of the show. You know, I was speaking with a certain someone, you know, and they were asking, you know, what are you going to be smoking on today's episode? And a certain someone, you know, wasn't too enthusiastic when they heard it, and they felt like maybe they needed to lower the quality of what they were smoking after hearing what I was smoking. You know, I don't know why that person would feel that way, but what I have is the EP or the Perez Carrillo Pledge. Boom. Get this. In 2020, the Bible of all cigars aficionado said this is the cigar of the year in 2020 and rated it a 98. But someone, you know, they was just like, hey, man, you know.
A 98?
Someone might have implied it was mid, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, so.
Hey, look, that was definitely my words. Like, oh, so we smoking mid on the show. What we doing?
someone might have thought I was smoking mid on the show. You know what I mean? But
That's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing now. We're going backwards. Okay.
You know what I mean? So,
but hey, look, for those who don't know about cigar ratings,
price point, by the way.
So what was the price point?
$16.50 was the price point.
Nice. Okay. That's a solid price point.
And that's what we like right there, ain't it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Press, of course. But for those who don't know ratings, 98 is a super high rating. Hard pressed to find a cigar that's rated at 98. You'll see 96. You might see some touch that 97, but that 98, that's a crowning position to have, a crowning rating. So shout out to EP.
Get this now. This is 2020, year of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Y'all had nothing but free time. All we could do was sit around and smoke cigars out of our stash. And they sat around and smoked everything they had on stash and concluded was the
that's
cigar
the one.
Year.
Ooh, it better smoke like it. It better smoke like it today. I mean, we talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, where are we up in our positions? And sometimes those names just ring heavier than others. And EP was just never been a name that like really punched me in the mouth to say I'm one of those brands. I like them. They're to me. You know what I'm saying? I see EP, I pay him attention when I see him in the humidors, but it doesn't. EP hasn't made me clamor for them, so I'm interested to see this particular cigar and see if this is a cigar that says, "Hey, no, we're worth clamoring over."
But get this though, I did get this from my location that don't be taking care of their stuff quite to the standard I want them at. So I had a tough time looking through. There's a few of them in there, and I actually took the time to fill them out and find the one I felt most comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? So, man,
and we talked about this. I mean, I hope they did it justice. Went into my spot that I got the cigar that I smoked on the last one, the Monte Cristo, and I talked to you about the Placencia that my cigar shop, the closest cigar shop to me, the one I tried out, the first one in my area. Come to find out, they can rearrange some things. So maybe somebody said something at some point to say, "Hey, look, your cigars ain't." I went in there, everything was rearranged. So since he was in a whole other area, Monte Cristo was like, nah, maybe certain areas weren't being treated right. So hopefully, I think they're paying attention. Because I had some things to say. And if I talk to the guy, he'd get a good thrashing from me.
Yeah.
Nice little tongue lashing.
Take care of your quality sticks. For those that didn't listen to last week's episode, which is all of y'all because I haven't posted it.
Yeah.
It's the well, it ain't been produced either, so it ain't been posted. But nor did I even check to see if it's been put in there. Is it in there?
I get what you want. I get what you want that.
I didn't even check behind. But so anyway, check it out. What was that stick you had, a Monte Cristo that was partnered with Placencia?
Yes.
And it was in bad condition. So that lets you know
horrible condition.
That cigar shop was not on top of their game. You know what I'm saying?
And let me tell you how
Titans partner up and then you don't respect it.
Let me tell you how bad it is. It's been a week. I have the cigar here still, and this is what it looks like now. For those, this is graphic right now, okay? For those who love cigars, this is graphic. Just give you a warning, a graphic warning. This is the same cigar. This is how far I've smoked it, and this is what it looks like now.
Man,
I haven't touched it.
Characters when they put a dynamite in their mouth and then
it explodes.
Yeah.
I haven't went back to it. I never, especially Monte Cristo, let alone a Monte Cristo with a Placencia blend, leave a cigar just uncared for.
Yeah,
that's how bad it was. That's how much I didn't care for it because of how it was treated. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's rough shape there.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna move on. Hopefully, the cigar that I smoked today has been very well taken care of, opposed to the ones from last week. I went with something that I felt really comfortable with, a brand that I love, Fuente. Got me some Fuentes. And two of cigars that I have not smoked from Fuente is the Florfina, or whatever it is. I got two different ones. I got a Maduro, and then I have.
With the light skin one.
It's kind of a greenish. I need to figure out exactly which one this is, what they call it, but it has this greenish tint on the leaf. So we're going with that one.
Yeah, go with that one.
All right, let's go with that one.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see it any better.
Yeah, it's got a greenish tint to it.
Yeah, so I need to go ahead and figure out which exactly this one is. This is interesting. Like it caught my eye immediately. So yeah, I'm ready to get to it.
Okay. Well, while you figure out what you got going on with yours, I'll just let it be known a few specs on mine. Mine is from the DR in origin, Dominican Republic in origin. Habano, Connecticut wrapper with Ecuador binder, Nicaraguan filler. So there we go.
Okay. Cool.
From Ernesto Perez Carrillo. That's what we got.
All right.
And I went with
can't find
on that, and I'm also going to match it up. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going with the match too. I'm going with matches. No bigs for the day. I done got enough chastisement for my bigs, so we're gonna leave the bigs alone. we're going with the matches. No cedar stick, and I'm going with the V cut. Cut that boy to a V.
That's a nice V. I got some cedar sticks.
So Claro, is that what this one is particularly? So it's Dominican. Okay, Candela wrapper. That's what that green wrapper is there. For those that don't know, I know I definitely didn't know. As long as I've been smoking cigars, I probably should feel ashamed for not knowing. But binder Dominican, filler Dominican, origin Dominican. So Dominican through and through, which is something rare. I don't necessarily smoke Dominicans, pure Dominicans that much. Okay, I got some a fan going, so I'm gonna have to turn this fan off for the moment so I can actually get my cigar lit. Blow my match right. Right. So what you got? What you pairing with?
But I'll say that I know that some of the care hasn't been totally intact. I can tell right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going to work my way through that. I think I'm going to work through that and get a good general idea what to expect. It's on my tongue already.
Don't you find it interesting, like at this point, that we are able to kind of pick up on that like immediately? You know what your cigar is supposed to give and what it's not supposed to give as soon as you take that first puff.
Yeah, you can tell when something's out of place, and I can tell. But outside of that, there's a lot of I'm picking up on a good amount of spice and a zestiness within that spice also right off the bat. Those are the predominant things that's jumping out at me. Could be a little intensified, based on what the condition of it, but it's good. It's good so far. You know what I'm saying? I can handle it. I'm a man. I might would have been mad at this back in the day. Ooh, I said I was a man. Is that okay to say?
You might have to watch your tongue. Watch your mouth.
Nobody.
Like it's taboo, and I don't want to go into this. Say what again?
Ladies can handle it too. I didn't mean nothing by it, ladies. You know what I'm saying? Don't count.
Yeah. It's crazy. We're not going to get too deep into it, but just to say it, why is it so taboo to speak on manhood, man? Like, for some reason, just to pronounce I'm a man, I lean on my manliness. I lean on my manhood. It's taboo to say, man. I can't stand it.
You know, not to piss my black people off, you know what I'm saying? But I'll say this: it's becoming taboo to say that you're to have pride in being a man the same way that you can't have pride in being white. You know what I'm saying? They literally becoming the same thing.
You know what? That is wild. That is crazy. That is crazy. Like, so what's your man? You as a man, you've been running as a man, you've been running the world for centuries. So what?
Yeah.
So I guess that's actually probably the most accurate sentiment I've ever heard.
Yeah.
You know, just to shun it because, hey, look, so what's your man? It's like saying this life matters. Okay, yeah, we get it. We've always mattered.
Yeah.
We don't need you to say it. And that might be what the sentiment of being a man is. Like, hey, look. But at the same time, the attack on it though, come on, man. You gotta attack it though. Like, if you want to just say, all right, shut up, it's not your time right now. It's every other person who identifies with whatever other gender, let them have it. Let's have a conversation, but like, don't make it taboo for me to say, hey, look, I'm proud to be a man, and I lean on my manliness, or I lean on my manhood.
Yeah. You know, I'm okay with the shut up, it's our time, but I'm not okay with the way it's doing, because they're not saying directly like that. They just forcing you to shut up. I really
Exactly.
tell me to shut up. And I'd be like, all right, fair enough. You know what I'm saying? You got it.
Yeah, let's have a conversation. Say, hey, look, we need this time to focus on us right now. Let's have a conversation. Let's have the verbiage and just say, hey, look, all right, we'll step aside for the moment. Let y'all have it. Get off what y'all got to get off. We still here. We doing our thing. But it's just like, nah, man. It's a shunning. You know what I'm saying? And that's not that part of it's not cool. That approach is not cool.
Yeah, agreed. I think you got that going for now, right?
What's that?
Any initial thoughts on that cigar? Now that you
yeah. Actually, I did, but we went to a whole nother little thing real quick. But so far with this, man, it seems like it has. I don't know if it's the Candela wrapper that makes it punch the way it's punching with the earthiness, but it's probably the most earthy cigar I've ever smoked to this point off the first puff. Like, it has a lot of herbalness to it. I don't know if that really explains what I'm getting, but it's like it's herbal. You know, like I'm getting a lot of earth. I'm getting just think not necessarily spices, but think like a parsley or something that you put on some kind of pasta or something. I don't know, but like it has that like that parsley feel. It just feels earthy and herbal.
Okay. What body would you say you got?
Nice medium body. You know what I'm saying? Decent medium smoke. Yeah.
This is
It's chill.
Going into that medium to full body area.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bold though, so I'm having a tough time really deciphering what's going on because it's intense. You know what I'm saying? Everything you got is intense. So like, but not in a bad way. But it's bold. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it ain't like you ain't cruising doing 55 on the highway right now. You know what I'm saying? It's big. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You need to be seated. You need to be paying attention to what you're smoking while you're smoking it.
Yeah,
it's just not something that you just puffing on casual.
Yeah. But I rock with it. I ain't mad at it.
Okay.
Let's move into some everything else.
Let's do it.
I was thinking about, we always talk about technology and how technology is changing all industries around us and whatnot. Most industries we tend to think of just common folks' jobs and stuff like that, customer service and all these things, and just your day-to-day life. But if you pay attention to what's going on with Disney's been doing a lot of layoffs, which is going into affecting ESPN. ESPN is the number one sports leader, you know, and
for the moment.
Cuts. Yeah, for the moment, right? Even they've been having to make cuts, and that's due to the fact that they are being affected by technology and regular people having a voice and able to get the news out quicker and more in a way that people relate to it versus it having to be produced and overproduced and professional and brought to you a particular way. You know what I mean? And it seems like people are relating to it, and you even start to see ESPN trying to adapt to that. You know what I'm saying? So
very much so. Very much so.
Who would have thought we'd have reached the day where ESPN, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's being affected. And sports would be untapped because we need somewhere to go. You know what I'm saying? But
right. We need somewhere to go. We need somebody who's a big umbrella and who can get the information to the people in any and every capacity. And like you said, it's open to everyday common folk to be able to speak on the how the landscape of sports at this point, and just the way things look, they look a lot different. Think about everybody who has podcasts now. You know what I'm saying? They got to compete with that. Gilbert Arenas got a joint. Patrick Beverly got a joint. Draymond Green, he get on his joint. He got his little podcast going. So like all the athletes, like you said, all the smoke. So it's like the way that sports are being brought to the consumer now is maybe we're just changing the way that we want to receive our sports commentary, the way we want to receive our sports rhetoric. Even back in the day before the whole debate format came, it wasn't a debate. It was just throw some highlights on the screen, Stuart Scott doing his thing, you know what I'm saying, with the ill commentary. And that's the way that SportsCenter went about delivering sports to the masses. This is how it's, and then things kind of changed. You had cold pizza, and then you had First Take. Well, I forgot what was Pardon the Interruption. Those guys.
Yeah,
then they were like the first to do the debate format.
Round the horn.
And round the horn, yeah. So it's just like the way things change, but now it's like it's slipping out of their hands. They were in the forefront of the change before, but now it's like the way the change is happening, slipping out of their hands.
Yeah, that's crazy. They actually created that format to kill them. Killing them.
Because you got to think, because matter of fact, a lot of these podcasts are debate podcasts. Like Gilbert Arenas, I'm watching his little podcast, and he going back and forth having screaming matches with people. Even what's them boys, Ocho Cinco and Brandon Marshall, when they was doing their thing, and then they was split up. Now they got two different podcasts, and it's kind of that conversation debate type of thing,
right?
Where everybody, I voice my opinion, you voice your opinion, we'll hash out the opinions. That is wild. the format they created. It's
destroying them. It's destroying them. If they'd have left it how it was and we just watch highlights all day.
Because who got the highlights? We got the highlights.
Yeah. Got that monopolized. Like,
we could license the highlights. We could license the camera crews, and every camera crew, if it ain't TBS or TNT or whatever, or Fox Sports, it's ESPN, and we the only ones who have access to these highlights, and we bringing the sports to you. Now it's about opinion, more so than the highlights.
Man, think about this, right? Back in the day when you was a kid and you wanted to watch the highlights, let's say you wanted to see the football segment and you missed it, and you would go to your local news station and see if you could catch some clips there. But the highlights never as detailed and as good on the local news.
Good. Nope. I remember that. And then you won't get everybody. You'll just get your local team for the most part. Either you get the hot team that everybody's watching, whether it's the Bulls and you in North Carolina, they're gonna show you the Bulls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna get the Hornets. You're gonna get the Bulls and Hornets. You're in Indiana, you're gonna get Indiana and the Bulls. That's it.
Yeah.
Or if it's football, you're gonna get the Falcons and you're gonna get the Cowboys. That's about it. Or the Patriots. So, but ESPN, they got the whole wide, they give you everything.
Yeah, every sport, everything, man. And I remember being a kid, not being like, dang, man, hurry up, get to the next sport. Hurry up, get to the next sport. Like, our bus coming in, we still on hockey. Hurry up. Like, yeah, man, I used to look forward to that, man. I'd be a little kid and they're sitting there. I used to be in there like, I always been an Iverson kid since I found out. Iverson fan since I found out about him. So I would be sitting there waiting on the Georgetown highlights and stuff before the bus stop.
Yeah.
Like, window, like, please let me
Bus coming.
Georgetown. Like, and you know, college highlights is long because it's so big versus like NBA.
Yeah, because you got to get those, especially if it's March Madness, you got to get through all those teams.
Yeah, so yeah, man, different times, man. But they in trouble, man. They in trouble. I don't think they're gonna be able to keep up with it because all these other platforms are so real. You know what I'm saying? It's so uncut, filtered. You know what I'm saying? And you get your personality, insight, and personal interviews from the actual athletes, and they're comfortable in those interviews. Able to be
I mean, and that's probably the biggest draw is you find whichever podcast and whichever commentary feels most comfortable to you. There's so many of them, and they're having these conversations just like regular conversations. They're speaking in the language that you might speak. They're speaking in a manner that you might want to deliver. So everybody's delivering it in a different way that might pertain more to you than and ESPN is cut at a certain point. They can only be as animated as this, or they can only say a certain amount of things. They can't say it the way that you might want to hear it, that you can relate to. So it's like they kind of stuck in that sense, unless they decide to change that and say, hey, look, no holds barred, we got to compete. And especially with the way TV is changing anyway, they showing everything on TV. They saying everything on TV. So it's like, whatever. We might have ESPN X, you know what I'm saying? HBO driven or whatever, you know what I mean? So they might jump into that realm because what they don't want to become is, I saw this post the other day that was just showing all these nostalgic companies that we remember from the 90s and 80s and early 2000s, the Kmarts and the Blockbusters and the Circuit Cities that's just closed down. And like, man, I remember these being a staple in my life. Like KB Toys, Toys R Us, that was a thing. We was doing that. We was, hey, look, you want to make me happy? You ain't even got to buy me a toy. Just let me walk down the Ninja Turtle section. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? You just go and just dream, and then you walk out. But that was your life. You go to Blockbuster. That was life as life was.
Yeah.
And then the things that we became used to are no more. They're gone. And ESPN, if they don't play it safe, they might be one of them things that just fell through to the wayside, just like those other companies that we thought would never go anywhere.
And get this, though. You know, we were talking about the different people. Even Stephen A. got his own podcast, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And is more uncut there, you know. Now, but get this.
Yeah, him and Skip Bayless.
Yeah. So you look at it from this point of view, right? This is what I think. I'm going to throw you a bone, ESPN. And Disney ultimately is going to be the reason why they fail, because who own them. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Disney. Disney's a great brand. But Disney ain't edgy. And people want edginess with their sports and how it's debated and spoken on. So what they could do, they could loosen the leash a little bit that they got on ESPN and let ESPN do some adult content on ESPN Plus, the app. You have to pay for the app. That's where you get the real deal from people. Now, I ain't saying go out there and be vulgar, but let them be a little more loose. You know what I'm saying? And only they paying people are going to be the ones getting the content. So they're less likely to cancel you because they paid to hear this. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. And if somebody get out of line, then you're going to have to punish them. You know what I mean? But
you can still have guidelines. You can still have limits because you're still ultimately ESPN. You're still ultimately Disney. So you can only do but so much, but you can like you said, loosen the reins just a little bit, like just open the limits just up, just a little bit more. And
Smoke is on Showtime. I mean, Showtime's a more vulgar network, but them boys still respect their limits. You know what I'm saying? KG when he do it, they loose, but they ain't all the way loose. You know what I'm saying?
But let me tell you who's not careful on what they say. Them boys, Cam and Mace, man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yo, maybe not so much Mace, but Cam.
And that's who he is. He always been
he let everything fly. Like, yo, like talk about his females, like, yo, you a bit, you this, you like, yo, can you clutch his pearls? Like, are you able to say that and just be like, you good? Like, there's cancel culture still out here. But people enjoy that from a Cam. And I'm talking about super vulgar in a sense. Like, just like, yo, you can't say that on network TV. but it's worked. It's worked.
What's interesting about that is only a few people that's like that and get away with it, but they've always been like that. You know, like 50 Cent and your Camerons, they've always been loose at the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Cam always did some wild stuff, like from the beginning.
Yeah, just let it fly. But it's funny.
That way. And he get to continue to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Now they've all grown up some, but they still loose. You know what I'm saying? They're still
yeah.
And don't nobody look no other way at him. 50 Cent's a mogul. You know what I'm saying? He's doing TV, movies, and everything.
No short of business ventures. Like he ain't getting shunned from business from his from how he is.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's like his business partners just be like, hey man, that's Curtis. Let him go. Like, you know what I'm saying? He don't get canceled. He get to do what he want, like say what he want.
Yeah.
And Cam, you know, I'm so happy watching Cam and Mace that they together. You know what I'm saying? I binge them occasionally, man, because I don't know, man. I'm just happy to see them dudes make it, man. You know, because I think that first of all, they should have been rekindled their relationship years ago.
That's facts. That's facts.
It was good to see them work that out, and then you actually just get to see how close they really were. You know what I'm saying? That's what they always were. They're that again. And Mace, I mean, Cam's always had a personality that he's always had a personality. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see it up front and people take to it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And it's just interesting to see it outside of music. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not music driven at all. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that you see two.
He puts his promotion in on it though.
No, he definitely gets a promotion in on it. Got to. Why not? But I mean, 95% of what I've seen throughout of it has been purely sports driven. You know what I'm saying? They're just speaking on their love for sports and their opinions on it. And it's the connection through music is not necessarily as heavy as I would have thought initially. You got Cam, you got Mace, two music artists. Why wouldn't it be? But it's just raw, uncut, unfiltered, how they feel about sports, and people gravitated towards it. And it might itself be an ESPN killer.
Man, you see how comfortable they guests are on the show? Like a whole nother aspect of their guest personality.
Yeah.
It's just like being in the neighborhood with them too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they might be up in suits, but they talk like, man, you know what I'm saying? And it's just fun watching all of them. You know what I'm saying? Watching how they interact with one another. They guests come on, they fall into their personality, they get into all the pauses and stuff, and everybody cussing freely, you know what I'm saying? And N-words flying and everything else, man. But it just
is what it is.
It is what it is. And guess what? The hotter they get, that style is gonna.
It's gonna, yeah. You're gonna see more people emulate that, especially on like we talked about all these other podcasts that are out, like the Gilberts, and honestly, I feel like I've seen Gilbert escalate more in his podcast, like as far as like making his personality even bigger. Like, well, guess what? If they cool with that, guess what? I'm gonna just give it to you even more. I'm gonna be even more Gilbert, Patrick Beverly. I'm gonna be even more Patrick Beverly. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say whatever now. And the more extreme it gets, the more unattractive ESPN and FS1 is going to look. Undisputed. It's going to look less and less attractive. But honestly, I still see like their formats have changed a little bit. Even with Skip going over to, I mean, not Skip, but Shannon going over to First Take, and Michael Irvin from First Set going over to, like, you got those big personalities. You know, before people like, yo, Stephen A. Smith, like, why is he always yelling? You're going to see a lot more of that. Matter of fact, I watched the first episode of Undisputed with Richard Sherman and all those guys all together now, and it was just a bunch of going back and forth. They just firing back and forth at each other. You know what I'm saying? The insults was going, talking about your game ain't this. Talking to Michael Irvin, a legend, talking about you how you catching the ball like this, and then some guy talking to Richard Sherman talking about like, nah, your position ain't that. You ain't what we were. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is this. And how'd you get on from that? Like, it was just like they're going to that style of what I seen with Rashad McCants and Patrick Beverly going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just no holds barred. Like, hey, let's just hash it out type of deal. And a lot of it is how We honestly have had sports debates in the backyard, in the garage, in the crib, at the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? Like those debates get live. Like when we together and we having conversations about sports, we get passionate.
You would think a fight about to break out, but everybody there ain't worried about a fight breaking out. But any outsider to that don't know that environment, you think it's getting dangerous in there, man. But it ain't. That's just how we talk these days, man.
When we talk sports, man, we get live about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at my pop's house about a month or two ago, and we was having a Kwame Brown debate. My dad, my oldest brother, and myself. And man, I don't want to see my dad get, you know what I'm saying, that loud all the time. But he was getting up there. Like, well, let me give you my facts. You know what I'm saying? But that's how we debate sports, man. That's just how we do it.
Yeah, that's definitely one of them things, man. That's not only that, it's a guy thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, sit back and debate the stupidest stuff and go back and forth on it and get passionate about it. Like, I caught myself doing that with my wife earlier this week, and then she was like, she tried to check me on it, and I just was thinking to myself, why y'all boring sometimes, man? Y'all just can't even, in a world of hypotheticals, you can't live within it. You just like, this is a conversation, man. You know, we have fun going back and forth on dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, because we realize
right.
it don't really matter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still want to prove my point.
We care about it, man. Like, you know, care about stuff that don't matter. You know, but it is what it is.
It's all in fun, man. Yeah. But like I said, like we might just see the avenue of sports commentary and the way that sports news and debates are brought to us based on how people are doing it just off of these podcasts, man. And the average everyday person, not even average, well, yeah, you can say the average everyday person plus the sports person themselves, you know what I'm saying, bringing sports to you. Who else better to get it from the sports person themselves? And they're doing it freely. Like before, you might get a Jalen Rose and you might get a Tim Legler coming to these sports. But then what they do is they transform Jalen Rose to a lesser degree because he still kind of had his own style. But you'll see they put on the suit, Chris Webber, you know, and they'll talk proper and bring the news to you the way that, you know, as I'm a newscaster into this preformed format. Yeah. No more are these former players taking off the uniform, putting on a suit and tie, and going into the commentary box, you know, just, you know, being as proper as they possibly can. You know, we're like, no, we can be ourselves and we can just talk how we experience sports and bring it to you just how we see it.
You know who else probably helped that movement a little bit?
Yeah.
Is your Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny. You know what I'm saying? They probably helped usher that in, but they had to keep it professional. But they gave a little glimpse into it, and it just kept ticking up.
They did. They did. Because like they were able to just still have their personality. They still suit and tie. You know what I'm saying? They still had their formalities, but then every now and then, now Chuck, he gonna say his opinion. He gonna say how he feel and be unapologetic about it.
Right.
Yeah, I said it about the women in San Antonio. No, I'm not apologizing.
Yeah. And he was right. He shouldn't have had to apologize about them San Antonio women.
I'm not apologizing. Right. And he is.
I'm just messing around. Inside joke, he know, man. You know what I'm saying, bro? Yeah. Hey, but check it out, man. What it is what it is, getting that big fat contract they just got.
Mm-hmm.
That big fat contract, I know earlier I said if that style pops off, that style is without a doubt gonna pop off, man.
It is popped off because you don't sign a check like that if the style ain't popped off.
Yeah,
it's here. It's here. Now the only question is what long-term effect is it going to have on your more formal stations like an ESPN? What is the long-term effect? Is this a phase going to come and pass? And your ESPN format is the one that's here to stay? Or are we boarding up the doors on ESPN and saying, nah, this ain't the way we want it no more? Because everything's changed. Or do they adjust? Like the music industry had to adjust to the way music's being brought to people. to get back that control. Okay, we're not making money, but now we can try to figure out a way to navigate within the streaming world and maximize the money we can make. The companies speaking on, not so much the artists, because they still need to change how the artists are getting paid. But the companies found a way to say, no, we're going to find a way to make revenue off the way things are being done now. ESPN still has that chance. But are you going to be BlackBerry or are you going to be Apple?
I see Mason Cam actually making fun of ESPN because they said they were copying their style with the cap session and the cap session on the show, like segment of the show and stuff like that. And it's just like,
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, trying. Dang, they trying. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of like you can't replicate it with something that's inauthentic. You have to actually bring something authentic.
It has to be those guys' personalities. You can't say, "Oh, I seen Cameron do that's hot," with how they doing it. They getting a lot of attention. You got to do it the way they doing it. And if it's not the people's personalities that you've hired on, which could be the course for the layoffs, to say, no, we need to get some new, fresh talent in here, some new, fresh perspective. Let's hire in people who can bring it to us that way. Maybe that could have been the reason. But they let go of Jalen Rose. So if they let go of Jalen Rose, that was the wrong move. If that's the angle they were taking. He should have been on the forefront. Him, your Stephen A. Smith, your Shannon Sharp now, Michael Irvin even. Those should have been like your staples and say, okay, your OGs, but then we're gonna bring some new talent in that has that already in them authentically and build it around that. But I don't know. Maybe that's not the aim because they wouldn't let go of Jalen Rose if that was the case. Because Jalen Rose, he was probably one of the first ones on ESPN to, no, I'm going to just say what I got to say, regardless of what's what.
He was, and that's how he got on ESPN. With him and Jacoby's podcast, him just saying interesting stuff. You know what I'm saying? He made himself hot independently. Then he got the deal. You know what I mean? Like,
and it was that one time he went back and forth with Skip Bayless. You know what I'm saying? So,
but I'm gonna tell you this: arguing is an aspect of it, but you don't have to argue. Sometimes you just got to be charismatic enough. Cam and Mace don't do a ton of arguing with one another. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like they had their debates, but it's really actually it's that camaraderie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they actually agree more than they don't agree.
Yeah,
to me, like from the episodes I've seen, they agree more than they don't agree. And I think these other shows made it seem like every take and every topic that we talk about, it has to be in opposition. And I don't think to make entertainment TV, does it have to be an opposition? Either you're LeBron or you're MJ. Either you're this team or you're that team. Yeah. No, you can still have interesting conversation, drawing conversation, and then still agree without it always having to be a debate. It's just we can have a conversation and make it an interesting conversation.
Most definitely. And see, I think even that's part of ESPN having that produced old school mentality of, okay, in order for us not to look like we're pushing an agenda or pushing a particular narrative, we have to have two opposing point of views. Everybody's got to go back and forth on it. Got to be an antagonist and a protagonist. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It will get into a weird place where you start looking like you pushing narratives and stuff if everybody agrees too much. But if that's just what happens, it's just what happens. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got to be manufactured debates.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. And eventually your audience will pick up on it and they'll get over.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Since now you just brought that to my attention. Going back to Gilbert Arenas' podcast. Do you feel like his positions on things are truly his positions on things, or you just saying things just to be outlandish, to say something, like knowing that people aren't going to agree with that, just to say it, just to spark something? Because that comes off as inauthentic. I was watching one of his podcasts. I was having that feeling like, I don't think there's no way you really believe that. It can't be. Unless he's doing what we said he was probably trying to do, is downgrade some other people just so he can up his stature, so he can hold on to, like, yo, no, I'm Gilbert Arenas. I got to down some of these legends and up this guy just so I can still have my narrative that, you know what I'm saying, to keep myself in the conversation of things.
I think it's a little bit of all of it. I think some of it he believes in. I think some of it is being outlandish. And I think some of it is to build himself up. Because I have felt all of those at different points of listening to it. I think it's all of them. I think he got a little Paul Pierce in him where he like, hey man, y'all ain't remembering me the way I want my legacy to be remembered.
Remember it.
Got a little bit of let me bring these other people down because I'm a little bit of a hater. And then I think he got some of it where it's just like he just think a little different. You know what I'm saying?
As a guard, how can you say anything bad about Zeke? Come on, man. Get out of here.
Yeah. Isaiah Thomas, I didn't like that. I didn't like what he had to say about Isaiah Thomas being overrated. And I didn't think his argument added up. You know what I mean? So
because you can't say that man's overrated because for one, he's not held in the highest regard out of all the basketball players, but he's held in a solid regard. To be overrated is saying Isaiah is the best player in the league ever. That's overrated. Okay. But the position that he holds is being top 50, this or that, being in a conversation for top 3-point guards of all time. He's where he needs to be. So to come out and say something like what he said about Zeke, come on now. You're going too far. You're going too far.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas is rated appropriately. I don't think he's overstated. He ain't understated. You know what I mean? Like, so you look at it from the point of view of he's considered, like you said, it's an argument for top 3, but everybody don't always throw him in the top 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's definitely a top 5 point guard. You know what I mean? Like, but with all factors included, first of all, he got the chips and he was the reason for the chips. So let's not ignore that. That means something because John Stockton, I don't care how great of a point guard you think he is, he ain't got no chips. You know what I mean? Like,
and you can't use Michael Jordan as the fact that he couldn't overcome Michael Jordan because guess who did?
See, you know what I mean? Like Chris Paul, I think he's one of the greatest point guards I ever seen, but he falls in that John Stockton conversation. He ain't got no chips.
He got no chip.
Yeah, I can't put you over a guy who was also one of the greatest point guards I ever seen, but he got chips and he was the leader. And
on the Chris Paul argument, and even on the Jason Kidd argument, I think Jason Kidd has a chip though, right? Jason Kidd got a chip eventually.
He got a chip,
but not his number one option. But you can't say it's a talent thing because Paul Pierce, you've had talent on your teams. Stockton, you've had talent on your teams. As much as I hated that talent, you still had talent on your teams.
Yeah, definitely. So it ain't even that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Isaiah Thomas got his chips in a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird league. You know what I mean? Like he got them against the dynasties. You know what I'm saying?
You had to get past Jordan and Bird and then go head straight against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Who's had a tougher route to the championship than that? You had to beat your East Coast teams. You had to beat the Bulls. Granted, they were on the way up, but you had to get past the Celtics and then get past the Lakers.
Yeah,
you had to beat.
I feel like this is venturing into piston D-riding, and I don't want to do all that. You know
no, I'm just saying. No. I'm just saying. It's just the because you're talking about the era, and when you talk about the 2 quintessential teams in that era that Isaiah won in, not the Pistons, the Pistons, but Isaiah won in, is you still had to go through the 2 top teams in the league. Not too many teams have to do that. They might have, there's one strong juggernaut on the West Coast. They get to that team, and then they go against a lesser team on the East Coast. All right, that's
hold on.
We already made it to our finals.
Let me get my Gilbert on real quick. I can't say the 2 top teams now because the Bulls weren't the top team in the league.
No. I'm talking about you had to get past the Celtics, top team. You had to get past the Lakers, top team. Like with some teams, like you might have a strong juggernaut in the West Coast, but the East Coast is lesser than. But you just got to get over that hump and get past that team in the West. Or you got to get over that hump and get past the team in the East. And then you go up against this team in the West Coast that you know you're going to win against if you can just get past this East Coast team or get past this Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, like the Lakers in the 2000s had to get past the Kings, but the East was wide open when they got there.
Once you got there, it's like, okay, night and day. Yeah, the Kings, boom, they had to get past that, but then going up against the 76ers. All right, 76ers going to the top, but all right, we've got, our focus is the Kings. We get past the Kings, we're going to beat the 76ers, or we're going to beat the Nets, type of deal. It's like, but the Pistons had to get past the Celtics. Now we get past the Celtics, We got to get past these Lakers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about.
Or like the 2000 Pistons, where, you know, they just had to get past nothing in the East and go against the Lakers.
You got to bring my Pistons down a little bit.
Yeah.
No, come on. Hey, no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. They had to get past them Pacers, man. We talked about the Pacers before. Them Pacers in the early 2000s, come on, man. Them Pacers in the early 2000s, they was some ballers. They was a team to get past.
It was some thugs, man. They had Jamal Tinsley and Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah. Jalen Rose,
yeah.
They some boys to get past. Now, come on. Reggie Miller was still on the team. Reggie Miller was still there.
He was there, but he was on his way out. Reggie didn't like the new league no more. He was on his way out, buddy. Yeah.
He was thinking about getting in that commentator booth.
Yeah. But no, I agree with you though, man. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you. Zeke had a tough road, and Zeke deserves to be recognized where he's at. So I think Zeke has said something to Gilbert in private. Gilbert don't like him. Maybe he didn't pay Gilbert no attention. He ignored him. Word got back and said something. It's something personal there. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's part of it. And I think Gilbert is a little bit pretentious. You know what I'm saying? I think he might overstate his who he is a little bit. You know what I'm saying? To the history of the game.
It's gotta be it.
Yeah. And that calls for all that arrogance, man. But I don't totally buy it. You know what I mean? Like even when you listen to people like Rashad McCants, I think he's sincere in some of the crazy stuff I've heard him say. You know what I'm saying? I think that what's my man on the Nets? We just talked about Green. I think Green is sincere. I think that Pat Beverly is sincere in who they are. You know what I'm saying? Even when they get crazy. Gilbert is
like you can't believe everything you saying, Gilbert. Ain't no way.
Yeah, ain't no way. And I think even Gilbert does it different than Paul Pierce. Cause I think Paul Pierce is just naive. Like I think Paul believes that stuff he be saying.
Paul just delulu. He's just delusional, man.
Delusional, you know what I'm saying? But he believes.
Because he become like because the thing about Paul Pierce that get me is his expressions when somebody like come against him, like, nah, man, Dwayne Wade was way better than you, bro. Man, looking like, nah, I can't believe you actually saying that. But you might be right.
You don't get it. Paul believed it so much that he even almost got a little bit of a point along the way with some of his argument. So I know because his argument,
because he argued his point.
Yeah,
because you be like, dang, Paul might have a point. He might have a point here. He might be right.
He was saying stuff like, you don't think I could have got a chip with them? And it's like, maybe you could have. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, Paul, I see your point. Maybe I can't say definitively that you couldn't. So maybe they'd be like, who get the ball in the last shot?
That's probably Paul.
You might be right. You know what I'm saying? But he's still better than you, bro. Like, that's some points. You know what I'm saying? Like, but once again, it do get rough. In Paul's defense, it gets rough because Wade had a flashy style, and flashy style always
is going to garner more attention.
Yeah, like when you get into KG versus Kevin versus Tim Duncan, it gets into a weird conversation. But Tim was such a winner that
you just couldn't deny it.
You couldn't deny it. But if they had the same chips, nobody would be acknowledging Tim as the greatest. You know what I'm saying? His argument would be a whole lot tougher. And even then, I heard Gilbert take a dump on Tim Duncan.
Come on, Gilbert. I ain't heard this one.
Oh, he said this to build up KG. He was like, man, well, you got to think about it. They came in the league at the same time. And he said that team was a team that went to the conference finals. Then they tanked the season after, got Duncan in the draft as the first pick, and then turned around and went to the finals and won with him his rookie year. So he was like, they were already a winning team that just tanked just to get a number one draft pick. That was the piece they needed. They won. He was like, you think about it, you put KG
strategy
in the environment. He was like, you put KG in that same environment, they would have won. But Rashad McCants was working with him, and he was like, no, you got to look at it. KG was a high school kid that was unproven Tim Duncan was a collegiate
year.
A player of the year in college. He came out. He was much more prepared for the league. So, of course, he came in.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, it became his team immediately when he got on it. They won it not because of the Admiral. They won it because of Tim Duncan.
Because of Tim Duncan, yeah.
So, I don't think I love KG, but I don't think that the Spurs would have won with him that first season. And I don't know that.
Because let's not get it twisted. Because them Timberwolves had a squad. Them Timberwolves had a squad.
They were wrong. And but I don't know that KG would have adapted the Pop system there anyway. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that he would have took to that system. Like young KG, arrogant, cussing, talking mess and stuff. He needed that free system that he had with him and Stefan and how they ran the ball, like how they played.
Yeah.
He was not going to adapt to that structure. I don't think so.
Don't think so. Yeah.
In his career when he got
especially not without going through college, he wouldn't have. Tim Duncan was tailor made for that system. The way he went through college, the 4 years, the way he learned the game, and then coming to Pop system, it married right. And you can't take a dump on Tim just because he was prepared for that system. It just married right. And sometimes it just takes that to happen for the right person to come with the right coach and the right system to flourish that way. You can't be mad at that. Can't be mad at it at all.
I've heard Steven Jackson make the argument. He was like, man, when I played for the Spurs, he was like how he would cuss out his coaches and stuff. He said he heard Pop fussing out Tim Duncan, and that's the leader. He was like, well, damn, if Tim take it, I got to take it. I can't. How am I going to say something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And KG wouldn't have been like that.
He wouldn't have been like that. So it took Tim's personality to make the team follow that personality also.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? To make it work. Strong coach, a coachable leader who now made everybody under him have to be coachable. So now we all fall in line, and we like the military out here. You know what I'm saying? We run it like it's supposed to be. It just wouldn't have happened, man. But I think that a lot of that goes to Gilbert looking to be controversial. It should be a very simple argument. Tim is the greatest.
There is no argument. I think for most basketball lovers, enthusiasts, or whatever, we've all recognized the greatness and the prowess of KG. But I don't think anybody who knows the game of basketball is going to say KG is over Tim Duncan in that sense. Maybe out of athleticism, we can say, KG was more athletic, more fiery, more this, more that. He might have had a better skill set in a different kind of way. You might be able to argue that. But to say the better overall player and who was the better NBA player, not the better street ball player or the better player at the park, come on, NBA player in the NBA system, the way the NBA plays ball, Tim Duncan easily better than KG. Now more athletic.
Just a better player in the NBA. That's it. At what spot? That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. And it ain't many guys in the league that was better than KG, but Tim Duncan was one of them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you gotta take that step back. Just look. And when we talked about on the episode before, we get nitpicky now. You're already one of the best of the best because you're a champion. You're a dog. You got skills. You can play. We know that. But now we're chipping away at, you know what I'm saying, low. And when we got to edge one out over another, this is what we're doing. We talk about the Zekes, we talk about the Steph Currys, we talk about the Magics. You got to go into those little nuances now. And that's the dividing factor. We ain't saying that KG can't ball. Ain't nobody denying that.
The greatest power forwards of all time.
All time.
Just have to play against the greatest. You know what I'm saying?
Which is a question I asked too. What is the problem? I know we got to close the episode soon, but what is the problem of people having a debate about people in the top of the top? We're debating the top of the top. Like we talk about a very small class.
He said LeBron's manager came to him and was mad. He was like, bro, I just said Jordan's the only person over him. He was like, what's wrong with being number two? That ain't disrespectful. And the guy was like, yes, it is. He's like, all right, we can't talk, bro.
How's it disrespectful? Yeah. Like, I'm saying you're the second best player ever. That's disrespectful. I'm saying you're like top 3 best power forwards in the history of basketball. That's disrespectful. Because I'm not saying you're not the number one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and really, he got a strong argument to be the top three. I don't know right off the top of my head without thinking. Without thinking, I'll just say he's top five because I can comfortably say that. But
yeah, top of head, Barkley, KG, Tim Duncan, Dirk, and give me one more. I don't know. That's probably it. Just that shit off the top of my head. That's not even debating anything or breaking things down, but that's
right off here, yeah. Dirk,
that's at least four right there. That's four. Yeah. 4 out of 5. Or they would give you boom like that.
Yeah.
And KG's one of them.
There you go. I can't even think of another one because it's one of those positions. It's like the 2-guard position. You know what I'm saying? It just want a lot of great 2 guards in the league. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A lot of great centers, a lot of great point guards, a lot of great small forwards, I guess you could say, you know, because a lot of people came through those positions. But the 2-guard position and that 4, the 2 and the 4, it get a little shaky. You know what I'm saying? Historically, when you go back, you know, now we got more guards than ever because there's so many hybrid players. You know what I'm saying? That
yeah. Oh yeah. Because your big man looking like a shooting guard now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Your 6'11's a 3. How's your 6'11 a 3? That makes no sense. In whose world?
A 3? You know what I'm saying? He's like 6'11.
Yeah. You're a 3. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's different now because there's so many hybrids that after about 2012, you stop keeping track of the greatest positions now. You know.
Yeah, I mean because like we talked about before, it's positionless basketball now.
Yeah.
Like it's even hard to take a point guard in this era and compare him like they've been doing to Steph. Steph's this era point guard. His point guard, the way he point guards is not the point guard that Oscar Robertson point guarded at. It's just not, or Stockton point guarded at. It just looks different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's an interesting conversation, man. But it's time to review these sticks.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to do it. I'll go first. Because I want to hear yours last. We got EP. We got a lot of factors on this EP that I'm curious about. So my Fuente, the Florfina 858. What did I call this rapper? Candela rapper, I believe. Nice, very herbal, very earthy, very mild, smooth smoke, only like Fuente could do. So we still stayed in that Fuente class and gave you what Fuente loves to give you, but just different. So this is my thing for Fuente. When we spoke about Fuente does what Fuente does, and they do it very well. And if you want to even kill, like go-to brand that you know is going to just deliver what it's going to deliver, and you want to step outside of that just a little bit, just a touch, that Florfina 858 Candela wrapper specifically is going to give you that difference that you're looking for in that Fuente family. So it's just a small departure from what Fuente usually does, but still good and still does it the way that Fuente does it. Like I said, earthy notes, nothing more than that earthy herbal feeling from front to end, pretty much even killed throughout the smoke. And I believe I got it to about the tail end of the second third. So still solid stick. I'm not going to rate it a 4, only because my palate wasn't prepared for the difference in the Fuente, even though it should have been, because I already knew it was going to be a little bit different. I'm going to rate this stick a solid 3.8. 3.8.
Man, I wish I had my words prepared to give a good description of this particular stick. This is the EP Carrillo Pledge. This was rated a 98 by Cigar Aficionado in the Cigar of 2020. For me, very early on, this started out very, like I described it, bold. It was a lot of intense flavors coming all out at one time. You know, it was a lot of spice on the very beginning of this stick. I picked up on some pepper. I picked up on just a zestiness about it, very intense. At a point that as I was beginning to get through the first third and going into the second third, I picked up on some licorice on it. Then as it continued to progress, it was some earthiness, and it was even a little bit of leather in there. Some of the boldness went away. The zest and the spice transitioned into more of a black pepper. And then even then the spice transitioned again into another type of a spice, but more like a cinnamon type spice. It was some cedar notes on it. At points you notice some woodiness and some coffee notes on it at different points in time. It began to smooth out once we got into the third area here, and it got really smooth at that point in time. And it was just more of those earthy and cedar notes at this point in time where I'm at now. And it got real creamy. It moved into a creamy state. This cigar probably took me on the biggest ride I've been on in a cigar in all of my memory that I can think of right off the top of my head. Like I have never gone on a ride where it transitioned and took me through so many different notes and so many different stages, where the beginning to the final third where I'm in now ended up doing a 180.
It's like not the same stick.
It's not even the same stick no more. You know how sometimes you can smoke your cigar and you feel, okay, some of these other notes dropped off, but we're left with this now. It just transitioned into 3 different phases. Each third was different. You know what I mean? Like, and like I said, even the spice that it started with became a whole nother spice in each level, and then the spice totally went out of it. I can only judge this cigar not by my personal preferences. I have to judge this cigar by just what it is. And I would say it had a good construction to it. It burned good. I never had to relight it. Nice full smoke. The actual fragrance coming off of it, the aroma coming off of it smelled good. I'm going to give this cigar a 4.7. I'm giving it a 4.7. Just because it's just so well done. Is it all of my favorite things throughout the cigar? No, but the overall experience, and yeah, drink that. The overall experience and how they did it, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? And for somebody, they're gonna say this is an incredible cigar. For me, it was an incredible cigar also, but it just was made up of things throughout the process I don't necessarily look for in a cigar. Is the Plasencia still my preferred cigar over that? Yes. The Plasencia EQs everything to perfection. This is not EQ'd as perfectly, but it's just like, it still left me wowed afterwards. Just like, wow, did I just go through it? I felt like I got on a roller coaster ride, and now I'm just getting.
You smoke 5 different cigars. Like you want a roller coaster, just at every turn, here's a cigar, puff this.
Yeah.
And now puff this one. Puff this one. You went on a cigar journey.
I went on a cigar journey, and it didn't handle it bad. It handled it good. Did it handle it as well as a Plasencia handles theirs? Nah, but that's like elite standard. You know what I'm saying? But this right here still handled it well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that, man. It's a really good cigar, man. It's a really good cigar. I'm not gonna put it as my top favorite, but would I revisit it? Most definitely, it's 4.7 to me. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm grabbing that. I gotta grab that. I gotta see what you're talking about. 4.7.
Because I gotta put some respect on what I just went through.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. It's you're not a novice. You know what cigars are supposed to deliver, whether it's your flavor or whether it's not your flavor. So respect to the honesty to say, hey, look, I recognize what a cigar is supposed to be, and this is what I'm going to give it still, even though it didn't hit my taste buds the way my favorite cigars would. I'm still interested in it. I'm interested.
Yeah,
I am.
That's what it did for me. I got to put a respect on their effort of what they did when they constructed this cigar. How they obviously took their time and was like, hey, we about to make a beast. You know what I'm saying? And so shout out to Ernesto Perez Carrillo for what he did. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them, man. And I salute you, give you your props. 4.7 is my score today for that for the pledge cigar,
Jeez.
and I respect why they gave it a 98. I'm not even gonna argue with it. Yeah, the slow clap.
I give it that. I give it that. Hey, look, that's good. That's good to be able to do a cigar like that, and it's not like your preferred flavors, and still get respect. Okay, my bad, EP.
When we say that from time to time, like, man, this is probably a great cigar for somebody. It just ain't for me. You know, this is my score.
Yeah.
Overcame it and made me say, all right, bro, let me respect this cigar. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got somewhere in the second, third, and I was like, it hit me. I said, let me respect this cigar. They doing some high level stuff right now. Let me respect it. You know what I'm saying? So,
I like it. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, y'all. That's episode 62. Thank y'all for tuning in this week to Cigars and everything else. Hey, y'all keep y'all sticks up high. And go check out this week's episode's sticks also.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.